As we age, maintaining strength and muscle mass becomes more than a fitness goal. It's a necessity for preserving independence, energy, and vitality. After the age of 60, one of the greatest threats to health and mobility is sarcopenia, the gradual loss of muscle that silently chips away at our strength, balance, and resilience. But what if part of the solution lies not supplements or pills, but in something far more delicious? Surprisingly, certain cheesies, yes, cheese, are packed with the right combination of muscle-building proteins, essential amino acids, and micronutrients to help combat muscle decline. In this video, we'll uncover 3 powerful cheeses that aren't just tasty. They can actively support your body's ability to rebuild lean muscle, preserve function, and stay strong well into your golden years. Whether you're recovering from muscle loss or simply looking to stay ahead of aging, this is one nutritional shift you don't want to miss. Activate muscle memory with amino acid-rich foods. Muscle loss with age isn't just about time passing. It's about the body losing access to key signals that once told it to grow, repair, and stay strong. One of those signals is leucine, a powerful amino acid found abundant in certain types of cheese. After the age of 60, the body's ability to synthesize protein declines, meaning the usual meals that once supported muscle growth no longer deliver the same results. But nature built in a solution, foods that are dense in bioavailable protein, especially those rich in branched-chain amino acids. Hard cheeses like Parmesan, Asiago, and Concheddar contain high concentrations of these compounds, which directly activate the MTR pathway, the system responsible for initiating muscle protein synthesis. When consumed with the intention at the right time, like after light physical activity or resistance movement, the body becomes more sensitive to these signals. The result is not just better muscle preservation, but a reawakening of muscle memory, that dormant strength built through years of movement, effort, and repetition. Isn't gone. It's waiting to be triggered by the right nutrients. Eating with awareness, selecting foods that send direct instructions to muscle cells, transforms each bite into a neurological and biological message. This is about more than rebuilding tissue. It's about reclaiming vitality, restoring coordination, and tapping into the deep reserves of physical intelligence that the body still holds. And engage the gut-brain-muscle axis. The body operates through complex feedback loops, and one of the most powerful systems influencing aging, strength, and energy is the gut-brain-muscle axis. This interconnected highway of communication regulates everything from nutrient absorption to hormone signaling to motor coordination. As we age, this axis can become less efficient, often due to inflammation, poor microbiome diversity, and inconsistent nutrient signaling. But certain foods, like aged cheeses containing probiotics and essential fatty acids, have the power to restore and rebalance this delicate system. When these cheeses are consumed, beneficial bacteria begin to improve gut health by supporting the intestinal lining and enhancing nutrient uptake. This improved gut function doesn't just impact digestion, it influences the brain's ability to regulate mood, motivation, and physical drive. Healthier gut produces more serotonin, influences dopamine sensitivity, and enhances the neural network that control muscle activation. As the gut-brain communication becomes more fluid, the body becomes more efficient at interpreting physical signals, adjusting hormonal cascades, and prioritizing tissue repair. Muscles begin to receive clearer instructions from the brain, and the foods being digested are better converted into energy and amino acids that are sent directly to muscle fibers in need of regeneration. Movement feels more purposeful, coordination improves, and even cognitive clarity can sharpen as the entire system reactivates. By choosing foods that nourish this axis, particularly those rich in probiotics, omega fats, and complete proteins, the body begins to recover its natural rhythm, one that was built for strength, movement, and renewal even in later decades of life. Time your cheese intake to optimize MTOR pathways. The MTOR pathway, short for mechanistic target of rapamycin, is the central regulator of muscle growth, cellular repair, and protein synthesis, and it becomes increasingly important as we age and to naturally lose muscle mass. After 60, MTOR activity tends to decline, which contributes directly to sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle tissue. But this pathway is not fixed. It can be activated strategically through the timing and composition of your meals. Cheese, particularly age and protein-dense varieties like Parmesan, Gouda, and Manchego, contains high levels of leucine, a key amino acid that serves as a primary activator of the mTOR cascade. When consumed in the right window, especially after light physical exertion such as a brisk walk, resistance bands, or bodyweight exercises, the body becomes far more receptive to muscle-building signals. The timing works because exercise sensitizes muscle cells, making them more likely to respond to nutritional inputs. Eating cheese immediately post-activity ensures that the leucine and other nutrients are delivered at the precise moment when your body is primed for growth and recovery. This approach turns an ordinary food into a biological lever, triggering muscle protein synthesis with greater efficiency. Additionally, consuming cheese alongside small amounts of complex carbohydrates can enhance insulin sensitivity, which further supports the transport of amino acids into muscle tissue. The result is not just a slower decline in muscle mass, but a potential reversal of weakness and frailty, allowing older adults to maintain strength, mobility, and metabolic health for years longer than expected. Timing matters because the body's internal systems operate on rhythms. And when you align nutrient intake with those rhythms, you don't just eat for satisfaction, you eat for precision, power, and restoration, and use daily rituals to prime consistency and recovery. The body thrives on repetition, and the brain is wired to favor routines that are predictable, rhythmic, and anchored in meaning, especially after 60, when recovery slows and motivation can wane. Daily rituals become more than habits. They become neurobiological anchors that stabilize energy, reinforce behavior, and protect against physical decline. Integrating nutrient-dense foods like specific cheeses into these rituals isn't about indulgence. It's about creating a consistent, reliable signal to the body that nourishment, strength, and restoration are prioritized. A small, intentional act, like consuming a slice of protein-rich cheese after morning movement or during a quiet evening routine, sends a repetitive cue to the nervous system that it's time to repair and rebuild. This repetition is what trains the brain to expect recovery, which increases the likelihood of it happening physiologically. Rituals reduce cognitive load, freeing the brain from the constant decision-making that leads to fatigue and inconsistency. They also help regulate circadian biology. When routines align with natural light, movement, and eating patterns, the body's hormonal systems become synchronized, improving sleep quality, tissue repair, and mental clarity. By turning simple behaviors into structured rituals, such as pairing movement with recovery foods or linking meal with moments of reflection or gratitude, these acts become more meaningful, more sustainable, and more deeply embedded in neural circuits. The body begins to anticipate nourishment before it arrives, muscles become more responsive to the nutrients delivered, and the immune system becomes less reactive and more adaptive. And rituals become internal regulators, tuning the body toward healing, balance, and strength, even in the face of aging and change. How do we link muscle strength to longevity mindsets? Muscle isn't just about movement. It's a living reflection of how the mind perceives time, purpose, and the will to continue evolving. After the age of 60, strength becomes more than physical. It becomes symbolic. It represents resilience, vitality, and a refusal to retreat into passivity. Every decision to maintain or rebuild muscle is a declaration that life is still being lived with forward intent. When you nourish your body with high-quality proteins like those found in aged cheeses, you're not simply feeding tissue. You're sending a neurological message that says, I'm investing in more time, more capacity, more freedom. The mind registers this act not as routine, but as purposeful behavior, and that purpose activates deeper psychological systems tied to longevity. Dopamine pathways, which are associated with motivation and drive, become re-engaged when you see measurable strength gains or simply feel more stable and capable in your movements. These neurochemical shifts feed into mindset, fostering a renewed belief that aging is not a decline, but transition that can be met with clarity and strategy. As the body regains strength, the brain begins to recalibrate its expectations about what's possible. Mental fog gives way to sharper focus, and emotional fatigue is replaced with a quiet determination. There's a reinforcing loop at play. Physical strength improves mental resilience, and mental resilience sustains the behaviors that protect and grow physical strength. How do we? When you begin linking the act of feeding your muscles with foods designed to support them to the deeper mindset of wanting to thrive, you step into a cycle that doesn't just slow aging, it redefines it. You're no longer chasing youth, you're building a new version of endurance. One shaped by self-respect, discipline, and belief in your capacity to rise again, a combat muscle loss with neural precision, not just willpower. The common belief that fighting muscle loss is all about brute effort and discipline overlooks a far more powerful reality. The nervous system holds the keys to sustained strength and physical resilience, especially after 60. Muscle doesn't simply grow because you push harder. It grows because the brain sends accurate, consistent, and timely signals that instruct the body to rebuild, repair, and reinforce. As we age, these neural signals can become less frequent and less effective, not because the system is broken, but because it hasn't been given the right inputs to stay active. Nutrients play a central role in reactivating this system, particularly those found in functional foods, aged cheeses, which deliver essential amino acids, calcium, and vitamin K2 directly to the neuromuscular junctions that coordinate strength and stability. When these nutrients are delivered regularly and paired with movement, even gentle forms like walking, stretching, or resistance bands, the brain begins to remap the body's physical capacity. It's not about trying harder. It's about training smarter by understanding that muscle is an extension of the brain's intent. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and change. How do we? Continues well into later life and is highly responsive to pattern, rhythm, and feedback. That means each intentional act of nourishing your body with recovery-focused foods or engaging in consistent motion reinforces the neural circuits responsible for balance, coordination, and muscle control. Over time, this builds a system that's not just stronger, but more intelligent, able to respond quicker, recover faster, and sustain movement with less fatigue. Precision comes from alignment. When what you eat, how you move, and what you focus on are all synchronized, the body no longer needs to be forced. It becomes self-motivated, efficient, and far more resistant to the decline that aging once promised.